The game is the first release in the series. It's a first-person shooter with elements of vertical and horizontal exploration, with the ability to pilot giant bipedal robots called Titans. The game operates on DirectX 11 library. However, it rarely uses its capabilities to any meaningful visual result. There is no practical application of tessellation in the game, not on characters, nor Titans, nor inanimate objects and environment. Despite that, characters and Titans have enough polygon count to hide most sharp edges and curves during fast motion. However, you can still spot these with enough careful observation. Texture resolution is excellent for characters and Titans. Same for terrain, walls, and most maps. However, several objects have modest texture resolution. Lighting in the game is the usual combination in modern games. Bloom, lens flare, and light shafts all appear beautifully and are done very well. Dynamic lighting is very good too, and include weapon muzzle flashes, explosions, and sparks from bullet impacts. Though it's still absent from projectiles, rocket tails, and some of the burning wreckage/objects. Shadows in the game is soft and natural. However, dynamic shadows is completely switched off. No muzzle flash, explosion, projectile, or fire can cast them. Smoke has no shadows too, and it also cannot be shadowed, which is clearly disappointing. The physics engine is modest. Most things cannot be vandalized or destroyed, even moved an inch, which is another disappointing aspect of the game. However, that doesn't mean the engine is devoid of any good aspects. The animation for Titans and characters is smooth and impressive. Particles and debris are very good too. All fires, smoke, dust, and explosions look very convincing and have a high resolution. Water in the game is acceptable, though it is flat and devoid of any wave motion. Reflections on it is simple too. However, splash effects from it is solid, though still not enough to affect the overall representation of water in the game, which appears subpar compared to other big releases out there. Reflections in the game are generally very basic. It's no more complex than a simple static light reflections on water/reflective surfaces. Post-processing effects are very subtle. Motion blur and depth of field effects are present but have a modest resolution and as such not noticeable most of the time. Draw distance is less than medium regrettably. Objects materialize in and out of these scenes as the player gets near or far from them, which is very shameful, as the distance is way lower than many similar games. It appears the developers depended on the frantic gameplay style to hide such flaws. They were mostly successful, as we only noticed such problems in interior scenes. Performance of the game is excellent, which is not that strange considering the several less than stellar aspects of the graphics. Titanfall runs very well even on a dual-core CPU. Even with more powerful CPUs, the game only uses 3 cores at best. As for the GPU, it spends most of its time sleeping. The game rarely uses more than 50% of its potential, even on the high settings and anti-aliasing options. Those looking to increase the GPU load should start playing at higher resolution like 1440p. Titanfall uses insane amount of video memory. It can fill the whole GPU RAM with 3 GB of texture data, as the game lacks any form of texture streaming due to its visual impact on textures during the ultra-fast motion of the game. Strangely, the game never used the same amount when it comes to system RAM. It doesn't even exceed 2 GB there. The game uses about 50 GB of hard disk space due to the use of non-compressed audio formats, in an effort to save CPU resources dedicated to decompressing them, which enables the game to relocate these resources for rendering the game, which in turn makes running the game on dual-core CPUs possible. As such, audio files of the game account for 35 GB. In general, the graphics of Titanfall is good when compared to other Twitch shooters of the last generation. But when put on the harsh standards of next-gen titles, the game doesn't even earn more than a poor rating. Its developers depend on the insane player motion to hide the low poly count, shadows, and lack of environment interaction and water, as well as the lack of effective post-processing effects and draw distance. It's obvious the developers' desire to run the game on low and medium-end hardware, and especially the modest Xbox One hardware, has resulted in many compromises in the graphics aspect of Titanfall. It even lowered the technical ambition of the game. What a shame, really. They could have done that while at the same time gave the chance for powerful hardware to stretch its muscles in rendering more detailed and interactive maps. However, that did not happen, either out of laziness or to save costs. And until that happens, and apart from the fact that Titanfall is an awesome title gameplay-wise, the game will only get a scolding from us, as well as describing it as an old crappy structure we got used to seeing it many times, that the only thing it can incite in us is pure and unrelenting boredom. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and visit our newly launched site bcgamesexp.com.